joining us now to react on this, the GDP estimate and other things, the senior counselor to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Joe Lavorgna. Joe, I wanted to start with this first on Fox Business report. The difference is, could it be the state policies where this is so different?
Well, you highlighted yes. The answer is yes. You highlighted energy. Energy certainly is a key input. It's a life necessity. I believe the numbers showed only a 3.5% increase in the conservative states versus a 5.2% increase in the liberal states. I'm in New York, and certainly with the lack of fossil fuel drilling or natural gas, the Marcellus Fault, I believe, which is an area that could have a tremendous amount of gas and energy supply, that's off limits. And there are a tremendous amount of restrictions and ability, Ed, to actually harness traditional energy sources so that you can improve people's daily lives and provide cheap, reliable energy. So I do think, yes, policy certainly is a factor, no question about it.
So it's interesting. The report broke down inflation based on party affiliation of the governor, too. Overall, in states run by Republican governors, inflation was 2.3%. For states with a Democratic governor, inflation ran 3% year over year. But, you know, look at this again. The widest margin was energy and transportation. For conservative governors, inflation 2.9% for energy and 0.6% for transportation. When you look at the governor as a Democrat, energy's up 5.3% and transportation up 2.1%. So should voters, be angry? And should that anger be pointed at the governor, not President Trump?
Ed, you raise what you call a rhetorical question, I think. But you mentioned policies, and if you have things like wind and solar and some other alternative sources which are not reliable and are very expensive, they need to be massively subsidized by the government for them even to be partially effective. You are going to be paying much higher costs. And I think it certainly impacts people's decision making. It hits them in the pocketbook. You have seen there's a lot of data that suggests there's been massive migration away from blue states into red states, in part because these cost of living issues, which certainly are policy related. So I guess it depends where you want to live and what you're voting for. But yes, policies have implications, and people in many cases are voting with their feet, as they say.
Right. Yeah, and we're seeing that migration. So, Joe, this report will be on foxbusiness.com, but it also broke down by metropolitan area. Now, New York saw overall inflation of 3%, with housing 4.2% and energy up 8.4% in New York City. But a city like Dallas saw inflation of 1.1%, with housing at just 0.8% and energy at a 2% increase. So should these cities like New York look at maybe something that Dallas is doing and emulate that?
Well, Ed, I know in places like New York, which I'm very familiar with, you've got rent control. You're very difficult to build. The permitting process is very arcane and very cumbersome, very bureaucratic. You're seeing other places like California after the horrific wildfire. So yes, that does seem to be policy related. I mean, it's not there are places where the market works. The market is able to provide what people want, goods and services at a relatively or cheaper cost. You're seeing more market-based places, and President Trump is well aware of that. So we'll see what happens.
And we'll certainly see what happens. In the last 10 seconds, though, if I could, GDP report. GDP was 4.3%. Can that continue?
Yes, productivity is running over 3%, and the private economy, Ed, grew almost 5% over the past 2 quarters. That's a direct result of President Trump's policies, big CapEx boom, narrowing in the trade gap, and a very resilient consumer, thanks to rising real wages.
Maybe we'll see over 2% for the whole year. We'll have to see. Joe, thanks for breaking all that down for us. I appreciate it.